Nier Automata is a 2017 action role-playing game developed by PlatinumGames and published by Square Enix. And not many people know this, but this game is actually kind of a sequel to a game called Nier that came out during the PlayStation 3 days. I remember seeing it in shops. I actually didn't get to play it myself, but I remember a lot of people talking about it in magazines and review magazines at the time, saying it was mixed reviews in terms of a lot of things, but it had some interesting takes when it came to the storyline and the weirdness around this game, which got me intrigued by it. And with the recent news that Nier Replicant, which is a new game that's coming out, which is actually a remake of Nier from back in the day, so obviously we'll be checking that out in the future, I wanted to firstly play a game that has bugged me for what seems to be since its release in 2017. Nier Automata is a game I have tried to pick up and play about 3 times before I went into my 4th time, which was the most recent one, obviously. In all honesty, I really don't know what the fundamental reason was that I didn't really play this game for more than 3 hours every time I tried to play it, and then I would just stop and forget about it. So this game has plagued me since 2017, and I really, really want to play it because I know that this game means a lot to people. In fact, a lot of people still talk about this game today because it is considered one of the most underappreciated video games possibly of all time. I also knew that there was going to be some elements of weirdness about it and some things that I may not expect, and those kind of things really appeal to me. I like games that kind of throw me into the unknown, like games like The Outer Worlds did, and just kind of put me in a position where I really don't know what's coming next. Set during a machine war between androids who are created by humans and machines who are created by alien life forms. You play as Android 2B, along with her companion 9S. You are tasked with going back to Earth to try stop the machine threat. I'm probably going to be very direct with this review because I've kind of thought in my mind how I'm meant to kind of approach this review, and I've been kind of going back and forth. Do I just kind of start off like a normal one, talk about graphics, talk about gameplay, talk about stories, talk about the sound, music, all that kind of stuff? And you can't really do this game justice by doing it like that. I would say this game is not necessarily a complex game to play, but it's definitely one that's very complex to kind of talk about. This game has a lot of things in it, like a lot of different things in it. And one of the joys of playing this game is discovering those things that you didn't expect. It's a third-person hack and slash game through and through. But what this game does in terms of its genre-defining gameplay mechanics is not just take a third-person or a hack and slash game and make it just that. This game likes to mix up genres, makes you learn patterns and things to learn about the game that you can take into future playthroughs. This game, to not sound cheesy or corny, is a real gamer's game. This is a game for people who have played video games for the majority of their life, have understood the process it takes to make one of these. You don't really have to go that far, but it's definitely one for people who have played video games for the majority of their life and have fond memories of many video games in the past that they have played and that are important to them, like very, very important to them. And ones they talk about nearly every day or reference to or talk about their friends or have a fucking poster on their wall or something. Nier Automata is that game. Nier Automata is a game I would give to someone who didn't have an appreciation for games, or even more so, claimed them to be bullshit or such a waste of time, or had no good in the world. They only cause bad things, like they promote violence or something like that. This is the type of game that makes me proud to love video games. It also makes me think how special video games are and how they can do certain things that films can't, for example, that any other media can. It can only be achieved in a game like this.
They feel like desire.
There's a lot I can say about a lot of different things about this game. One of the highlights, like one of the top highlights, and I know I'm going to sound very, I guess, cliche because I probably haven't mentioned this particular thing in past few games, recent past few games, I would say, but there's just been so many good soundtracks that have come out or that I've played through or listened to. The soundtrack to Nier Automata is one of the most beautiful soundtracks I've ever heard in my life. Hands down. It's such an integral part of this game as well. I said this before, and I stress how much music plays an important role. It just, especially for me, I think in games like these, action adventure games, where you're going to have a lot of emotions, the soundtrack needs to be spot on. I love music that matches or elevates, exceeds what's happening on the screen by just what you hear. Like having a soundtrack that fits so much or so well with what you see can elevate that action or whatever is going on screen so much more. And Nier, with this music, gets that right all the time throughout this game. Also, don't do what I did with this game. I took one look at the main protagonist 2B and I immediately went, nope, that's probably not a game for me, which is probably, again, one of the reasons why I delayed it so long, because I just didn't think that this game was gonna be down my alley. I never really played the Bayonetta games as well. I like PlatinumGames. They've made some really, really good games, but I'm not really the biggest hack and slash kind of fan, especially with their hack and slash games. I haven't really played all of them. Don't be like me, because if anything, this game is the perfect representation of don't judge a book by its cover. Yeah, I get it. 2B looks like anime fan service. I get it. If there was any takeaway I could take from this, is that if you think that this is not going to be a game for you, play it. Try it out. Don't just look at it and think, oh, it's definitely not for me, because you never know. I felt the same way too. And I can barely get my words out to try to describe this game. That's how much of an impact it had on me. Nier's combat and gameplay was fantastic. It has satisfactory combat, is the best way I could describe it. There's RPG mechanics in there as well. You can obviously upgrade different weapons and get different materials and upgrade different chips, which are kind of like your upgrades within yourself as an android and stuff like that. And there's various different ways you can kind of mix and match the way you want to play as a character. Nier Automata is a confusing mind fuck of a game. There is a lot of things in this game that will make you question a lot of things. I think more questions than answers will come up in this game. But it is a journey. It feels like a journey. After finishing this, I felt like I do with most games that I truly, truly love. I felt lost. I felt like my purpose for the last week or so was to play this game and loving every moment of it. And that was gone. And it was sad. And this game hit every button of emotion. Throughout the entire game, it hit every single button. This game's a real thinker. Comes up with a lot of things, and a lot of ideas, and a lot of theories. Make you question a lot of things. Certainly did for me as well. And it's so powerful in everything it does. With everything that's so great about it, with the music, with the gameplay itself, its story, its characters, its world, how crazy the world is, but also how invested I got in it. It has nearly everything right. And without sounding cliche with this, it's possibly near perfect. There are some games that come along every year that make me feel like this. Outer Wilds, The Witcher 3, Persona 5, God of War. All these games have something in common to me when I played them. They made me look at video games in a different way. They made me think, what is possible? What can these games achieve? not just from a technical element, but from a storytelling element as well. And this game, Nier Automata, has both of those things, story-wise and technical. This is a game for people who love video games. This is a game for people who love stories. Nier Automata is a game I will never forget. It's an experience I will never forget. It's a game that made me appreciate video games themselves and how powerful they can be in storytelling to a player on the opposite end through a TV screen with a controller. Being very vague there, but there's a reason for it. This game was enjoyable throughout. It melted my mind at times. It kept me intrigued throughout. It has one of the most kind of complex understandings of how this world works, but understanding it was a joy. It was very intriguing to me. It has a lot to say about a lot of things, including life itself. I don't know what else to say other than if you love video games, you should play this game. It's special. Real fucking special. Nier Automata gets a 10 out of 10. So yeah, sorry for being so direct and vague, I guess, with this review. Usually with games that I truly love, I don't really go into a lot of detail with them. I just kind of give you an overall view of how this game made me feel, and that's what I try to do with this game. This game, though, is truly something else, and I still hate myself for taking this long to play it, but go play Nier Automata. It is my new favorite game. I'll see you next week.